Good Stuff podcast. It is just me today and the lovely Miss Corinne Bix. So, hi. She wears a lot of hats in our community, but mostly we'll talk today about the United Way hat that she wears, of course. But we could talk about, mom hat and trivia extraordinaire.
Oh,
hat.
I have really good teammates for trivia.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. I'm always so impressed by those updates. I'm like, do you ever do you want to be on Jeopardy someday?
Our one friend, he's like a social savant. Like he's social.
Yeah.
Like he's fun to be around.
Yeah.
But he has a savant type brain. So he knows all the things.
Yeah.
So
okay. Does he want to be on Jeopardy?
Oh, no.
That show stresses me out.
It's the quickness.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I love Jeopardy.
You do?
I do. We watch it every night.
If I can get one answer right, I'm feeling real good about myself.
It just depends on the categories.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Because like if it's sitcoms, like I've got it.
Yeah.
Especially like 80s sitcoms, I'm your girl. But like, the folks on my team know things about one's a pharmacist and two are engineers.
Okay.
And then there's me. Yeah. And when written work comes up, they're like, hey, you're an English major.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't read Harry Potter. I don't know which one they want for this one. I don't know which one it's Goblet of Fire or Phoenix Rising. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we digress. So,
okay.
So, let's talk about United Way.
Okay.
Give us just a little bit about, actually, let's start with you. Let's talk just a little bit about you. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
And then we'll jump into your role at United Way and all the good stuff happening there.
Okay. So I'm Corinne Bix. And I think first and foremost, I'm a mom to 3 kids. Hayden's 22, and he'll graduate from Ohio State in August in strategic communications. Yep, we just ordered his cap and gown.
I feel like he just graduated.
I know.
But, yeah.
And I played a trick on him. He sent me the stuff to order his cap and gown. He said he needed, the one to fit a 6-foot person. And I said, I ordered the 5-foot. That way your sister can wear it in like 6 years. And he said, Mom, that's going to be way too short. I go, nobody cares. Nobody's going to notice.
It's fine.
So, that was fun. And then I've got Sawyer, who's going to be a junior at Ohio State in early education.
Yeah.
And then I have Miss Gigi, who you know very, very well,
Yes,
since she was teeny tiny.
Yes.
And she's going to be a senior.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Does she know what she wants to study?
She wants to be a lawyer. She wants to help all the people. She wants to help children who have no voice and defend them.
She would be awesome.
So that's what she wants to do.
Cool.
And sing and tap dance while she's doing it.
I love it. Yeah. Like in Chicago.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. That's her. That's
her.
Gigi.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Awesome. When did you start at United Way? How long has it been now?
So it was 5 years ago.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And that was something we agreed to when we were first married. We both had that and felt, that that's what we wanted for our kids. And luckily, Brandon's job's always been able to take good care of us. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was able to stay at home.
Yeah.
And then my sister had 2 kids.
Yes.
And I kind of just piggybacked her kids onto mine. So in total, I was home 17 years.
Yeah.
But it was the greatest job in the world.
Yeah.
And my most favorite job, as you know. There's nothing like hugs from kids.
Yes.
So I feel like I always wanted 5 kids and God provided.
Yeah.
So I got 2 bonus kids.
Cool.
2 daytime kids.
Yeah.
So when my niece went off to kindergarten, I knew it was time to, I guess, leave the nest for me.
Sure.
So I looked for a job. I knew when I was working on my master's degree back in 2011, my MBA, that I was really drawn to nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been drawn to charity, that type of thing. I've always done that. Volunteer.
Sure.
American Cancer Society, stuff for PTO, stuff for the schools, that sort of thing. Worked on levy campaigns. So when the United Way job came up, it seemed like a really good fit.
Yeah.
And I really had no idea what United Way did. I just knew that Honda, who Brandon works for, was always a huge supporter.
Sure.
And he would come home every year and say, who should we designate to? Or, what do you want to do? And we've had family members around here who've worked for various partner agencies. So sometimes we would designate to one of those partner agencies.
Sure.
Sometimes just to the general fund.
Sure.
So I learned a lot when I came in as far as what United Way is.
Sure.
And the history. It's been in Union County since 1958.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
So it'll be 65 years next year.
That's awesome.
And it didn't start out as a United Way. So the idea of United Way actually started out in Colorado.
Okay.
I believe in the late 1800s. I don't have the exact date.
Wow.
I wouldn't get that on Jeopardy. But it started in Colorado, and it was a woman who was going around getting money for her charity. And she actually approached the local churches and said, I think it's like starts like a joke, a woman, a rabbi, and a priest.
Yeah.
And she said, what if we all knocked on one door and split the money?
Yeah.
So that's where the idea came from.
Yeah.
And so I believe in 1958 when United Way started, they had 8. It was like a community chest model here in Union County.
Okay.
And they had 8 partner agencies.
Okay.
Some of which are still our partner agencies, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or not Girl Scouts, but Boy Scouts for sure.
Okay.
Union County Cancer Society.
Yeah.
So, and then in the 80s, we officially became a United Way.
Okay.
So all United Ways are local, and they're meant to serve the communities where they are.
Yeah.
So what might work for Logan County or Delaware County,
Sure.
or Hardin County, those same things might not work here. We might not have the same needs in Union. So the idea is to fundraise on behalf of these partner agencies who are local, helping folks locally, and kind of let them be the boots on the ground. And then we're the funders, the advocates.
Sure.
So right now we have 25 partner agencies.
Yeah.
So a lot of food pantries, Milford Center, Richwood, senior centers, like Community and Seasoned Citizens, Windsor, Richwood Civic Center. I'm trying to think, personal needs pantries, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Union County. So kind of, a lot of different things.
Sure.
And I'm real proud of what they do, and I'm proud that I get to go out and speak on their behalf and try to help promote them and advocate on their behalf. Because many of these nonprofits, they're a lot of times it's one person or one paid employee.
Right.
So if their volunteer base went away, they wouldn't have a nonprofit.
Sure.
So if you think about like the model, it really works because you're putting the folks at the agencies who really know what they're doing, and that's their skill set.
Yep.
And then United Way can be behind the scenes helping raise the funds.
Yep.
And then we can partner with workplace campaigns and do payroll deduction.
Right.
And most recently, we became officially affiliated with United Way of Central Ohio.
Okay.
Now, all the money raised in Union stays in Union. But now we have access to all of United Way of Central Ohio's back office, staff, resources.
Yeah.
We were able to roll out ePledge this year, which is a pretty, nice online giving platform.
Sure.
That's something we would not have been able to afford on our own.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
And
talk about, you mentioned designating as part of a workplace campaign. If people aren't familiar with that, just mention a little bit about what that means. So, for example, Honda, a huge employer.
Right.
Somebody works at Honda. How can they get involved with donating to United Way through payroll deductions?
So Honda, like some of our local workplaces are no longer doing like the classic United Way campaign. They're going to some other different platforms.
Okay.
But so if your workplace has a workplace campaign, a United Way internal campaign, you can choose to give to one of our partner agencies, which are listed on our website and in our brochure.
Yeah.
Or you could decide, I'm going to give this to Union County Cancer Society, this to the Milford Center Food Pantry. You can divvy up your donation. Or you can say, I'm just going to give it to the general fund. And then you're giving it to all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
So we have a committee that meets annually that's made up of some of our advisory council members. Our advisory council members, it's a body of about 17 to 20 local business leaders, local government, community members, folks from education, like kind of all different sectors.
Sure.
So they meet 6 times a year and kind of help oversee United Way of Union County.
Yeah.
And then we have a community investment committee that meets annually. And that group has some of our advisory council members on it, in addition to some other community leaders.
Okay.
So what happens is the agencies apply annually to us. Mm-hmm. It does not matter if you've been with us since 1958. You have to apply every year.
Yeah.
Because you're vetted every year.
Yeah.
Applications come in.
Sort of like the grant process.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's our grant allocation process. Applications come in. We go ahead and divvy those up among our community investment committee. A lot of people are on teams of 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So we would say, Ashley and Derek, you're going to go and evaluate Windsor, Senior Center, Union County Personal Needs Pantry, and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Union County. So then we would get you all the contact info, and you and Derek as a team would go and you do a site visit.
Okay.
You'd also review their app. You'd have a guideline sheet that you would follow so that you could ask questions, so forth and so on. Then you'd come back to the committee and you'd report out.
Okay.
So you might say charity ABC is asking for $10,000, and I think if we can give them more, please do.
Sure.
You may say, I'm a little concerned about ABC charity, or it doesn't necessarily maybe fit into our basic needs model, or, kind of our strategic goals, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And so you may say, I think we need to look at them, again, or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're very blessed with really good charities around here who apply.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been applying year in and year out.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them year in and year out.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
So that's how I like to really hit on that, because I think with GoFundMe and that instant gratification of giving,
sure,
you don't always know where your money is going.
Yes. Yeah.
So while it takes a little longer, there's something to really be said about vetting.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You can be confident it's going to the right place and going to be used the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So particularly through COVID, I'm sure you saw countless times where it was like, hey, we have the ability to step in here and really save this nonprofit. We have the ability to step in here and really help this organization, or help this particular family, or help this whatever. Can you think of any times in particular, or any stories that you say, like, this really gets home why we're doing what we're doing? Like, are there any those moments that stuck out? And maybe it was through COVID, maybe not. Maybe it's just like there's this organization that could really, really use this help. And because their partnership with us, they were able to fulfill
Absolutely.
XYZ need or something. Are there any of those stories that really stick out to your mind?
Well, so first of all, when COVID hit, the main part of my job is coming and talking with you. It's going to chamber meetings. It's going to workplaces and talking about the campaign. We know with COVID, all of that stopped.
Right.
So, there was a little bit of panic.
Sure.
Like, how are we going to outreach? How are we going to get out to people?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of partnerships in the county, one of which was with the Union County Health Department.
Uh-huh.
And I contacted them and said, what can we do?
Yeah.
So we actually, and this is a big fancy name, United Way of Union County became the mass critical care unit for COVID.
Okay.
So we were included on all the emergency operations center phone calls and worked closely with the health department. And essentially, I think normally in a crisis, like a flood or I don't know, I'm trying to think of tornado, something like that. Yeah. The mass critical care unit would be a physical place, like, for example, the Hope Center.
Yeah. Okay.
But COVID, we couldn't do that.
Right.
So everything became virtual.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like we became a virtual waiting room.
Okay.
So if people reached out and said, I want to help, we could kind of say, okay, you can go here, here, or here.
Sure.
Somebody called and said, I need help.
Sure.
We could try to find them that help.
Okay.
Some of which was through the COVID fund that we helped manage with Union County Foundation.
Yeah.
What else would it? Just kind of making sure that people were connected to the right resources because it was something none of us understood.
Yeah, right.
And, we had a couple instances where, like, we just helped arrange, somebody was quarantined.
Yeah.
And they were laid off from their job. and they needed food.
Yeah.
So we would work with Hope Center and make sure that we got them food, but obviously in a safe way, like got them food to their porch, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that came out of, a lot of good things came out of COVID. I know it's hard to look at it that way, but I think that you have to in retrospect or else, you know what I mean? Again, it's kind of like if we don't laugh, we'd cry kind of thing. Yeah. But Family Promise of Delaware County is a homeless shelter. Okay. And they applied for COVID response money. We did not realize how many of our union folks Family Promise was taking.
Yes.
So we already fund Heart of Ohio Homeless Shelter in Marion. So we've been funding them for years.
Sure.
But it kind of opened our eyes to folks because we do not have a homeless shelter as of right now.
Right.
That's hopefully soon going to be changing.
Yes.
As you know, we're working on that project with Impact 60 and the Y and a lot of community partners for.
Right.
But it allowed us to learn about another partner in an adjacent county.
Yeah. And how much they serve our county.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many people they were taking in.
Yeah.
And now they've become, a partner on this project for here in Union. Yeah. So I think that was one of those, Gigi and I joked that there were Corona-tunities, and I think that was a Corona-tunity that I wouldn't have known about otherwise.
Right.
So, and Gwen Stetler is the executive director over in Delaware at Family Promise, and she's amazing and wonderful, and I'm really glad to know her. Yeah. And so, it kind of opened up those doors. I think that it forced some of us to look at things, get out of our boxes.
Sure.
And look at things in new ways.
Sure.
So that was really good.
Yeah. I didn't realize with as much as, we've talked to the health department folks here before, and Shauna Sue was here several weeks ago. And I didn't realize that you guys were leading that kind of call center response, that part of the COVID response. Yeah. And
it was odd because it was different than what, like I said, a traditional mass critical care unit would be.
Sure.
And we worked very closely with the Hope Center. Yeah. And the Hope Center took care of so very much through their emergency assistance program.
Yeah.
But what we ended up doing between heading up that, or, leading that mass critical care piece and then helping to lead the COVID response funds, they worked really well together because what we also know about COVID is things were changing by the minute.
Yeah, sure. Especially in the beginning. Yeah.
Right. So the COVID response committee.
A year later.
Yeah. So at the fund, we could have chosen at the beginning to say, we're just going to dole all this out at once. Yeah. We made a conscious decision to say, we are going to meet weekly. Yeah.
And
we are going to evaluate needs on a weekly basis. Yeah. So we did that for, I bet we did that for at least the first 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And then we started meeting, I think, twice a month.
Okay.
But I think it took us at least 6 months, maybe a little more, before all the funding was allocated.
Yeah.
Because we just really wanted to make sure we weren't jumping the gun.
Sure.
Because.
And then the week later you go.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so much is, Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me with COVID was it really brought to light folks who were considered ALICE, which is an acronym for asset limited, income constrained, and employed. Yeah. Folks that are really hardworking and living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
If you had someone who was, for example, a hairstylist, mom's, not to be sexist, but we're going to make mom the hairstylist and dad's the full-time manager at AutoZone. Yeah. And both those, or for example, maybe he's a full-time manager at a restaurant.
Sure.
So the restaurant shuts down, the hair salon shuts down.
Right.
And those were the folks calling and saying, I don't know how we're going to make rent.
Yeah.
So I think that is a lot of times the community that goes unnoticed.
For sure.
They make too much money to qualify for government assistance.
Yes.
But they are just truly living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What have you seen be the biggest change over the pushing COVID aside, 5 years ago to now, either in our community, United Way's role in the community, or how the organization has grown, or where do you is there like the biggest change in the organization or, growth, whatever that might be in the 5 year, and maybe it is COVID. Maybe that's the biggest
COVID's
difference.
huge, but COVID really, I think, just accelerated what was already happening within workplaces.
Okay.
Workplace campaigns have been changing.
Sure.
Workplace campaigns are the backbone and have been for many years for United Way.
Sure.
Kind of truly our bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
We have to look at our role in the community in a different way.
Sure.
We have to be obviously the fundraisers, but in order to keep employees, companies are giving their employees more choice.
Yeah.
So if they want to give to, Ashley Loves Cats,
Yeah.
501c3, they can.
Sure.
And they should be able to.
Sure.
So they don't want to limit them to just United Way agencies. But I think there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
I mean, our campaign has decreased a lot.
Okay.
3 years ago, we gave out 540. 2 years ago, we gave out 380
Yeah.
in allocations. This year, we gave out 253.
Yeah.
So we're not going the right way.
Sure.
But I also feel like the more awareness we bring,
Yeah.
I also think United Way is something that just people kind of assume is there.
Sure.
And therefore it's self-sustaining. Therefore it's okay.
Yeah.
I
Or
even
that
had
it's a national thing, and
yes.
yeah, and it's like, well, everybody in the kind of like the ASPCA, right?
Yes.
It's like,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know how they get funding, but all over the United States they get funding somehow.
Right. And we're a member. So we're not
Sure.
it's not like United Way Worldwide's funding us.
Sure,
it's
sure,
the
sure.
local dollars.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that we have to, and I think that's another thing that maybe COVID's taught us is you can't just assume.
Sure.
You can't just assume, that's always been there, so that's always going to be there.
Right.
That's okay because I say in my head it's okay.
Yeah.
Or that was okay and thriving 15, 20 years ago or when I was a kid.
Right.
Therefore, they don't need my help.
Right.
So,
Right.
I hate to use like the Sears,
Sure.
comparison.
Yeah.
But I don't think when we were kids, you'd ever think there would be a Sears
Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
So, but I think that United Way is pivoting and United Way is getting more, out in the communities and doing different things and being more versatile, which really I see us as a community connector.
Yeah.
And also it's truly connecting among agencies. It's connecting to other nonprofits.
Sure.
I mean, we talk, we're working with Impact 60 right now
Yeah.
on the shelter.
Yeah.
Our board raises money every year independently. It's not United Way money. We've done it the past 2 years. We've adopted a family through Care Train.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to kind of have that. Sarah Barr from
Yeah.
Avalon Theater and LaVonna C. from Impact 60 both sit on that community investment committee.
Yeah.
You can't understand what everybody else is doing if you don't take the time to learn it.
Sure.
So I think it's made me stop and say to, Sarah, tell me about the Avalon.
Yeah.
LaVonna, tell me more about Impact 60 and vice versa.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is I don't think a lot of people know that we are the local affiliate for Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Yes, I do know that. I know that because my girls get those books. Oh,
And
it's Callie's favorite day of the whole month.
And people don't know it, and they also think the state pays for it. And
yes.
it's our cost this year for Dolly Parton, just locally, money that I need to raise.
Yeah.
In addition to funding our, agencies that provide basic needs.
Yeah.
The Dolly Parton portion is $22,000.
Wow. Just for Union County. Wow. And
We have
that's not
almost
when they're
2,000.
5?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, if you really love Dolly, consider if you do a $60 donation, that gets one kid all the books for 5 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
Okay. Well, that leads me to kind of the last talking point, which is one of the things we like to say, and I'll ask you for this challenge at the very end. But so let's say I don't work at a place that does a workplace campaign or whatever, and maybe therefore United Way has never I don't know how to get involved. How do I contribute? So what are the average Joe, or maybe go back to the family who mom's a hairstylist and dad works at a restaurant. How can they help support what United Way does? How can they get involved in United? Maybe it's through dollars, maybe it's not. how can the average person support what United Way is doing?
Well, I think every dollar counts. So, our campaign this year, and we're actually taking it into next year, is $52. $52 is $1 a week.
Yeah.
And I think if the theory is if everyone in Union County did $52 for the entire year, we'd be set. We'd probably be set for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Easy. Now, I realize not everybody can do that.
Sure.
I recently talked to somebody at a workplace campaign, and they said, well, our employees don't feel they can help because they don't have a lot, and they use a lot of the services. They use a lot of the agencies.
Yeah.
And my response to that was, but could they do $5?
Yeah.
Could they do something?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 52.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, if people are willing to do dollars, that's what our agencies need most.
Sure.
Sometimes we'll get from people, usually this comes from like bigger organizations, but like we want to go volunteer for a day. Sometimes that's possible.
Sure.
But sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what I sometimes want to remind people is you would never want someone to just come in and do your job for the day.
Yeah.
And we have to be reminded that what these folks are doing, this is really hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm one removed from it, and I still get misty. I still cry. I get people. I just had someone on the way here call me about a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
I probably get that call easily 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
I get that call.
Yeah.
So the folks who are truly in the trenches, who are working the personal needs pantry, who are working at the shelters, who are working with the kids, they see this.
Yeah.
So, if you value that, either give directly to those agencies, write a check outright to them.
Yeah.
Or, if you kind of are like, I don't know where to give, that's a wonderful thing. If you give to United Way, we'll give across the board.
Sure.
And I can promise you those dollars are being spent wisely.
Yeah.
We've really reduced our overhead big time over the past couple of years. We reduced our office space, just kind of, all that like techie type stuff, phone, copier, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're lean for sure.
Lean and mean.
Lean and mean.
Lean and mean funding machine. So we always like to end with a challenge to people who are listening. So things like, what have we had in the past? We've had go consume art. When we talk about, the art opportunities in Union County. We have, we've had, pay for the person's coffee behind you, or we've had just like see somebody this week, like actually see them. Those sorts of things. So what is a challenge that you think we can pose to our listeners? And I'll say, if they do these challenges and they tell us about it, they get put into a raffle.
Okay.
So once a quarter, we give something away. So it can't be like, smile at someone today. Even though that's important, we should all be doing that,
yes.
Okay, so what would your challenge be?
My challenge would be to anyone listening and watching, to reach out to a charity or a nonprofit that speaks to their heart, be it a United Way charity or not, something that really means something to them, and either reach out to a volunteer or an employee at that charity and let them know they matter, let them know what they're doing matters. And if you feel so inclined, give a little money. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be $1 because really every dollar counts.
Yeah.
But words probably even mean more. And people need encouragement, especially I think in these times.
Right now. Yeah.
That they're being recognized. Recognize people.
Yeah. I love it. Awesome. Okay. So that is your challenge for this week. Think of a nonprofit organization that you care about and call them and tell them that you appreciate their work. And if you want to give them a little money to do that, but make sure you let us know about it. We want to hear it. You can either share it on Facebook and tag us, or email us. Somehow let us know that you've done it, and we'll share it. We'll spread that word. So thank you so much for coming, and
This was
thank
fun.
you. Yeah, thank you for just all of the good that you're doing in our community. And connecting with people, going above and beyond, making sure that community is loved and taken care of, even beyond our Union County walls. So thank you for doing that in a both professional and personal way.
Oh,
'Cause I know
thank you.
do a lot personally as well. So,
and thank you, both you and Derek are doing some wonderful, good things around Union. So we appreciate it also.
Thank you. All right, guys, that's your challenge for the week. Learn more about United Way or to get involved. Go ahead and connect.
Connect with me. Go to our
Connect with
website, unitedwayofunioncounty.org.
Yeah,
And
we'll tag all of the things. in
all
the
right,
post,
all
so-
the things.
All the things. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Go do good stuff. Until next time, we'll see ya.
Bye.